Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar program. My name is Joseph Bonelli. I'm an associate extension educator with Yukon Extension. Also on the call is Francis, who we kind of handling all the technology of today's program. And without Francis's help, this would not be happening this way. So I want to thank Francis for taking care of the technology today. And our presenter today is William Barnes. Again, today's program it will provide information on a number of livestock and dairy related programs that are offered through the USDA RMA program. This program is being recorded and will be placed on our website as well too. So for you want to go back and review the program or review it again, it'll be up on our website, and we'll be promoting the location of that site as well too. Francis will be monitoring the chat box. So if you have any questions, or thoughts, feel free to put in chat, and she'll be able to relay those to our presenter. Also, one important component, this is basically a grant-funded program, grant funded through USDA RMA. And one of the requirements is that in order to hopefully seek additional funding in the future, is to have an evaluation to get a sense of the value of our programming and the interest of farmers and growers or others to view our programming as well too. So if you could please complete the evaluation at the end of the program today, that would be very, very much appreciated, because it helps us to design programming that is helpful and productive for your farms or businesses as well. I'd like to introduce William Barnes right now. And I'm noticing that Francis is Will on the program, or is he gone?
I think he's back now.
Oh, he's back. Okay. Well, Will Barnes has been a deputy director of the Raleigh Risk Management Regional Office since 2018. Prior to joining the RMA staff, he was a county executive director with the Farm Service Agency in Tennessee for 8 years. He's a graduate of the University of Tennessee with a bachelor's degree in animal science and a master's in ag and natural resource management. Will grew up working cattle in South Middle Tennessee and has previously worked for the University of Tennessee as a graduate research assistant, as well as Purdue Farms. Will comes to us with a lot of great information, a lot of knowledge and experience about the livestock programs and farming, and look forward to hearing Will's presentation today. So without further ado, I'll hand the program over to Will Barnes. Will?
Okay, yeah, I feel better about that.
Yep.
Well, anyway, thank you for having me today. And my name is William Barnes. As I said, I'm with the Raleigh Risk Management Agency, and our region covers 14 states between North Carolina and Maine. And so I'm here today to talk to you mostly about dairy and livestock programs. So we will get started. And just before you understand or know, this program is funded by Yukon Farm Management Program in cooperation with us, the Risk Management Agency. So we'll get through some. We'll have several more disclaimers, I have no doubt. No. Heavens. Okay. Now, can everybody hear me okay? And can everybody see the screen so far? Okay, that's good. Excellent. Thank you. Technology is not my forte. I'm just an old cattleman. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about a handful of livestock programs and the dairy program. They include dairy revenue protection, DRP, then two different livestock programs, livestock gross margin and livestock risk protection, as well as a brief bit on whole farm revenue protection. There will be more in a series, and so we will. I won't cover a whole lot on whole farm. This is for training purposes only. Everything, as to my knowledge, as far as yesterday was up to date. I checked it all. That does not mean that when you try to use it, it may not be up to date in the future. Please make sure that nothing has been obsoleted before you go ahead with any kind of material. Also, these products are privately owned. They were privately developed and privately owned, all four of them. They were submitted under the Section 508H Federal Crop Insurance Act, and that allows third parties to develop products. So RMA runs it and provides reinsurance to the companies, but and we make sure that it's working correctly. That's our job here. Any revisions must be made by the owners. Okay. So again, we're covering DRP, LGM, LRP, and whole farm. And I understand if y'all ever have any questions, please, raise your hand or type it in the chat. We'll handle them. There's not a whole lot of folks, so I'm happy to handle questions as we go, or we can wait till the end. But it is a lot easier if you type your question in the chat box. That way, if I can't get an answer, I can make a copy and send it up the line to Kansas City where our home offices are, and we will get answers as best we can as quick. I know that federal programs and anything is an alphabet soup. I used to work with FSA, obviously, and so that they all run together. If I turn into federalized and start using acronyms too much, just tell me to stop. Say it out loud. We're going to start with dairy revenue protection. It's not very old. Actually, that was one of the first things I trained on when I got to RMA in 2018, before it was introduced. It's an area-based revenue insurance product for dairy producers. It protects against milk price, milk yield, and revenue declines. It's sold in quarterly coverages. You can get up to 5 quarters, so 15 months. And it's split into 2 types, either class price or component. We'll get into further detail. Within Connecticut, which I suppose everybody here is just specifically in Connecticut, you are in the pooled Northeast regional market of production and yields. That includes everything in New England, goes all the way down to Delaware and Maryland. There are a handful of states, New York, Pennsylvania, and then further down the line that have significant enough production that they can quantify as a single state. Connecticut gets pooled. The benefits of this, there are not many coverage declarations. There's not many reporting requirements. And it's eligible for all grade A dairy farmers. And something I'm always curious about, and y'all can answer now or later, does Connecticut have any non-grade A dairies anymore? There used to be a handful up and down the coast, I know, Prison Milk and things like that. So it's and premiums are established using actuarial appropriate methods. Mostly that just means that we're doing the best to build a price that is not a guaranteed loss. So an application would be done through a livestock, an insurance agent that will deal in livestock. Most will, some may not. We will go through the website at the end of this as well. RMA website has a lot of very good tools, but you would have an application through your insurance agent, and then you would purchase a quarterly coverage endorsement. Now, a quarterly coverage endorsement is required to establish coverage. You basically list at that point the value of milk you want to protect, the amount of milk you want to cover, the level of coverage between 70 and 95%, which quarterly contracts a producer wishes to purchase, so in the future, which quarters, your declared share. If it's a 50-50 dairy, then it would be 50-50. If it's a single owned dairy, it'd be 100%. And your protection factor. There's a lot of numbers here that I won't really drag you into. It turns into algebra on the back end. That's not as important as what we're going forward and we're going to look at now. So this is the newest table. Right now we are in quarter, if I can do my head right, 802, which is right there. That's January to March. We cannot purchase that now because we're already in the quarter. So you can purchase a quarter going forward of, well, 803 and forward. You have until 4 p.m. Well, between 4 p.m. to 9 a.m. the following day to purchase for that day. And there may not be a price. There is a price set every day through Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that's CME. So if they have a holiday, and in some Fridays, although most are not bad, you'd have to wait until the next business day. So let's see, our date right now is, yeah, so we are January 26th today. So the red period is what you can't buy. But you could buy 803 through 807 right now, which are just the quarters. Obviously, and if y'all have been in the dairy business for quite a while, milk prices and futures are different, and not nearly as sure a year and a half down the road. So some folks like the idea of taking that 5 quarters way out, especially if you can book a high price. Some don't, because it's very obviously unsure. Let's move forward. So as it's crop insurance, it is based on an area-based revenue protection subsidy schedule. Excuse me. So the United States government will subsidize this product at this rate. The higher coverage you go is actually a little bit opposite. The lower the subsidy is, and the lower, you cannot get below 70% coverage level. So 70 to 95, government will subsidize about 59% of the product in that lowest level. We'll get into some examples just so y'all can further understand how it works. Class prices or component prices, they're average for 3 months of the quarter. So like I said, if we're in 802 now, that's January, February, and March. If the prices were 18 and a quarter, 1850, and 1875, those would average out to 1850, and that's the price locked in for the quarter that you would take. And within the class pricing option, it averages the expected class 3 and class 4 milk prices that are in the actuarial documents on the day that sales are offered. You can take 100% class 3 or 100% class 4 or any combination in class pricing. And it just becomes a weighted average. So you would declare how much of class 3, the balance becomes class 4. In this scenario, the dairyman went 50-50 of 1725 and 1625, averaged out, and then makes 1675. That's pretty simple math. Now, and that this would be the actual price that you would lock in. Excuse me. Now component pricing is slightly different. You might have very good Holstein cows with high butter fat. It's generally looking more potentially at Jersey cows with a high butter fat content, or Guernseys, Brown Swiss maybe. So component prices take declared butterfat test, and that would be on your milk ticket, plus declared protein test, and then a fixed other solids test. So insured reviews the expected values per pound of those in the actuarial documents of that your insurance agent would present you. Then you would, excuse me. Got the dry mouth there. You would find, yeah, basically set what would mirror your personal production according to your milk tickets, and then you would declare your butterfat and your protein test. Your butterfat test can be no less than 3¼ pounds now. This used to be lower, so it's been updated for 2022. No more than 5½ pounds. Anywhere between those two in 0.05 pound increments. Protein test is pounds of milk protein contained in 100 weight. It can be no less than 2.75 pounds and no more than 4½ pounds. And it is in relation to butterfat, but also in 0.05 pound increments. And then we fix the other solids at 5.7 pounds per 100 weight. So, excuse me. So in this scenario, yeah, the declared components are subject to the component test ratio between butterfat and protein. Again, declared butterfat to declared protein test ratio must be no less than 1.15 and no greater than 1.3, rounded to the nearest hundredth. They just, yeah, they have to stay within that range. They're mostly going to anyway. But the CME would give you, they actually don't break down butterfat, protein, and other solids. We run that through a formula and build it back out. So the test weight for this example is 4.8 of butterfat and 4 point flat on proteins, with a 5.7 other solids. It always exists. The expected value per pound calculates out, averages down. Obviously, there is higher value in the component price as opposed to just averaging class 3 and class 4. Now, a handful of very important things of this. This policy provides only the difference between the final revenue guarantee and the actual milk revenue, times your share and your protection factor. You can work a protection factor pretty high. I'll show you how high we can go with that. It's caused by natural occurrences in the market prices and yields for the pooled production region. When this product came out, there was a little consternation that it was essentially only a pricing tool. And after the pandemic, with cattle like yield production kind of winding down just a little bit, actual yields played some role. It does not insure against death or other loss or destruction of cattle, any kind of loss like that whatsoever. So, but your private insurance may cover that, just depending on your actual property owner's insurance. In the event of a loss, most likely price, but could be yields. Notice of probable loss will be issued. You have to submit a claim to your AIP, that's your approved insurance provider. You would do that through your agent. Include all the required documentation within 60 days following the date of notice that probable loss was issued. So that would be your milk tickets, amongst other things. Yeah, production worksheets, marketing records, pickups. And the milk marketing is, obviously the total amount of milk sold by the insured dairy operation for the quarter of which that insurance was in effect. So just a simple, pretty basic calculation. Something that I thought I had existed in before, and you must always deliver 85% of whatever you guarantee. So it'd be, since you're booking milk beforehand, as far as total pounds, in order for this to work. So the guarantee equals the value of milk times the pounds of the milk times the coverage level. In this example, booked the price at about $20 a hundred on 1,000,000 pounds of milk at 95% coverage. That guaranteed revenue is $190,000. Then the actual revenue is the actual value of the milk times 1,000,000 pounds times the yield adjustment factor, which you also be able to select. So in this scenario, Milk dropped to $17 a hundredweight. Still major million pounds of milk. That's good. Times the actual adjustment rate that you would select on your policy of 2%, 1.02. The indemnity would be the difference between the two at that point. Guaranteed minus the actual times your share times your protection factor. If you only made 173,004, then your indemnity payment would be $16,600 for the quarter. Contract change date on this is April 30th, although you can buy it any day. The change date is April 30th. So that's really more of an internal process. Cancellation date is always June 30th. End of insurance is the final date the quarter ends. Termination date is by December 31st. These are continuous coverages, so they will roll unless you request cancellation. Premium billing date is the month following the end of the insurance period. All of these can be found in the actuarial documents, and I will show you that after we get through all the other programs. Yeah, we're not doing bad on time. And this is by far the most involved program that especially have in these slides. But I would imagine that within y'all's community, this would be more active. You are allowed, so some of the common questions, can you participate in DMC, which used to be, prior to that, milk, and well, milk a long time ago, back when I was with FSA. I don't remember what it was, just briefly. It's now DMC with the FSA. You may participate in both at the same time. Can you participate in livestock gross margin for dairy and dairy RP at the same time? You can, but only in effect. Yeah, it's okay, obviously. You may have LGM and dairy RP in effect for the same crop year, but only one policy can have endorsements in effect for the quarterly insurance period. So whatever date comes first of endorsement will be enforced. The other endorsement will be void. So do be careful there. And can you take multiple quarterly coverage endorsements for the same quarter? Again, you can. It just cannot be the exact same milk. And that's okay. This program is actually sort of set up to go in small, and there's really no minimum requirement. So if you just wanted to do 10,000 pounds to see if it would work, you can do that. And if it looks like it's going to pay, then you can maybe do another 50,000 pounds, or you can mix and match and possibly do a little class option with component option. So there are opportunities to move around. It's pretty close to a put option. Is essentially what we would say. Okay. We're going to transition over into livestock gross margin. This is a slightly older program. In Connecticut, we can cover not dairy cattle, just dairy markets, so dairy production and swine. Do we, by chance, have any hog producers on the call? Not that it matters. We'll still go through it. And my follow-up
You have at
question
least
was,
one.
okay. So there, we still have hogs in Connecticut then.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, good. Well, hogs are funny. You get it's been a different ride for hogs. We used to have lots and lots in Tennessee. We do not have nearly as many as we used to. North Carolina still has quite a few, but all right. Well, livestock gross margin insurance provides protection against the loss of, as it says, the gross margin, the value of livestock, or in dairy's case, milk, minus feed costs. It's bundled option on CME, covers livestock price and feed costs. So, and it protects against the margin between the two. If you've ever run in the FSA dairy margin protection, it's fairly close, just more likely to actually benefit. Uses future prices from CME to determine margins. Price producer receives at a local market is not used in these calculations. And again, there's also cattle that does not apply in the state of Connecticut. We're only concerned in Connecticut with hogs and dairy. The indemnity at the end of the insurance period is the difference between the gross margin guarantee and the actual gross margin. You would essentially just book going forward the price of the animal in the futures market minus the price of feed costs, and at the end of the insurance period, if those two tighten up, then indemnity would be the difference. It can be tailored to fit any size farm. It is sold on Thursday of the week when coverage prices and rates are posted until Friday at 9 a.m. thereabouts. Premium payments are due at the end of the insurance period. And I've always been told that I must say that this is owned by Farm Risk LLC, not by the United States government. In dairy's purpose, it's only for milk sold for commercial purposes. You are allowed to participate in DMC with FSA at the same time as with this as well. The subsidy varies between 18 and 50%. Now this is actually the inverse. The higher the premium, the more likely to get us a higher subsidy. So, and for dairy, it's 11 months following the sales closing date, so it is a longer period. Does not insure against, again, cattle death of any reason. Unexpected decreases in milk production, that would be the loss of, just selling off cows and not getting milk production. Unexpected increases in feed use personally on your own farm. Anticipated multiple year declines in milk prices, or multiple increases in feed costs that, basically over a long amount of time. It only covers that 11 months. Is essentially the point of that. Otherwise, this program is almost as simple as it sounds. It is price booking. It's a put option again between feed costs and livestock costs, or the price of milk in this case. With swine, it runs almost exactly the same, although there's multiple operations: farrow to finish, or feeder pigs finishing, or sow operations, segregated early weaning. Premium subsidy is exactly the same. In this case, the insurance period is 6 months long, and begins 1 month after the policy, and covers the next 5 months. So you would purchase a policy, and the policy would kick in 1 month after that and cover the next 5 months. Prices received at your local markets are not used. It is entirely based on Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and does not insure against swine death again, or any loss or damage to swine. So disease of any kind that personally happens on your farm, unfortunately, will not cover that. And it's possible that, again, the property insurance would protect against death. And I would encourage anybody with any livestock loss to always consult your FSA county office, who does have programs such as LIP, Livestock Indemnity Program, in the event of actual death. Okay. And finally, one of the bigger programs I'll talk about today before we hop over and take a look at some of the website stuff is livestock risk protection. Risk, it's revenue. It's livestock revenue. Who wrote it? Which is exactly as it sounds. Coverage protects producers against a decline in market prices below a producer's selected coverage price. This is not unlike LGM. It's not unlike gross margin, except that it's just straight revenue. In Connecticut, it's covered. It will cover feeder cattle, fed cattle, and swine. It's owned by Applied Analytics Group. LRP lamb does not exist in Connecticut. We won't even chase that, and that should have been deleted. There's lower subsidy ranges in this, 20 to 35% based on your coverage levels. You may select from a variety of coverage prices and periods, so there's a lot more room to maneuver in purchasing this type of coverage. Yeah, the expiration of coverage corresponds to the time livestock would normally be marketed and sold. And at the end of the coverage period, if the actual lending value determined by RMA is below the coverage price, producer may be paid an indemnity for the difference. There is, again, potentially mortality insurance. Consult your private insurer or your property insurer, potentially. So LRP is a 12-month period beginning on July 1st and ending the following June 30th. So we're in crop year 2022. That's the actual crop year. You would get a specific coverage endorsement crop year. It's determined by the crop year in which the SE was purchased. Does not matter when it ends or if it carries over into the next crop year. That's confusing, and it confuses me as well. But even talking about crop year, you're just in the crop year. You can essentially set it up to cover the time when you're going to raise the cattle, sell the cattle, or feed out the cattle. Daily sales periods are Monday through Friday evenings when prices and rates are published. Not all coverage periods may be available. That's something you would need to consult your insurance agent about, what periods are available. Now for feeder cows, it's available for calves, steers, heifers, and Brahma and dairy cattle. You can either get the under 600 pound choice or the 600 to 900 pound. And then fed cows is cattle expected to grade select or higher and yield a grade of 1 to 3, and slaughter somewhere between 1,000 1,400 pounds. Again, subsidy rates are 25 to 30% based on your coverage level. And now here's your contract lengths: 13 weeks all the way to 52 weeks. So you may get a whole year. You can round between years, as I said earlier. You can go short term in 13 weeks if you expect to turn calves around quickly. Maybe 30 weeks on average, somewhere in that range, maybe less. Cannot get more than 3,000 head per endorsement, and 6,000 head annually. So there is a contract limit cap, but you can go as low as you want to. Now, whole farm revenue, I will not really get into, other than it is a revenue program for your entire farm. It's a single policy. It covers all commodities produced on a farm. If you have multiple livestock, if you're in multiple livestock business, or if you milk and also finish off your own Holstein steers and sell in different markets, it might be a good option for you. Whole farm picks up other live animals. It does pick up fish, so farm raised catfish. It will do a little bit of aquaculture. It will do sheep. It will do lambs. It is available in all states, but it is based entirely on your Schedule Fs for your farm, and the difference in your carried revenue minus your actual revenue would equal your indemnity payment at the end of the year. Sales closing date on that is March 15th, which in Connecticut, which is coming up. Luckily, you will get more information on whole farm revenue and micro farm revenue soon. I believe in the next week, if I'm not mistaken. And Mary, who also works with us here, will go more in depth on that. And that was sort of the quick and easy. I'll jump into a handful of these. And we will issue this. I assume we will issue this presentation The summary of business just says how much is done in the state. Cost estimator is very useful, and we can go into that here shortly if you'd like. The livestock page with just general fact sheets, the handbooks involved, available to the public. An agent locator are very good. All these are live links, so when you get the presentation emailed to you, if you get it emailed to you, these are all good ways to chase down pretty much everything I've said, plus more information. They are all very involved. Try not to overwhelm people. So with that, and hope everybody knows who that is in Connecticut. Hopefully everybody knows who that is in Connecticut.
Yeah. Well, we know who that is, and over the years, and Gino and Pat had a lot of games that they played, and it was a great rivalry, quite frankly.
Yes, it was. It was. Um, do you all have any questions? I know that I got through that maybe a little too quickly, but I'll certainly take that down. And if you do, please write down RSONC at USDA.gov, or we'll get it mailed out to you. I will show just a handful of website tools, if that's okay now.
Sure.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to just ask them at any time, type them, however you wish. So at rma.usda.gov, you will have this page, which is our public homepage. Tools is our most valuable public tool here. You can look at actuarial information browser. That'll give you the rates, prices, carrying yields for every crop in the entire country, for every state and every county where it's available. For this, we'll start with something like agent locator. In the event that you all have an agent or you don't have an agent, and it will say to find an agent in your area, click here. This is not as user friendly as it ought to be. We used to have a better website. My apologies. They didn't ask me. They just built it. Okay, so let's say we are in, oh, Yukon is in stores. So we'll write stores. Right there. And we'll say livestock. And search. Okay, and just in that area, looks like we've got 20 different agents willing to speak to you about insuring your commodities. So between Western Mass, Lower Mass, Connecticut, so it is, and it provides phone number. I cannot give advice on which agents to use. That would not be appropriate. And a lot of times I couldn't tell you anyway. My only advice is to, like buying a car, shop around, see who's going to work for you best, who you're most comfortable with. That's usually the best way to do everything. So, so that's our agent locator tool. We can back up. And something that I usually do for, within the cost estimator, do a personalized estimate right there. So let's say for 2022, you wanted to take out some dairy revenue protection. It would be right there on the drop-down box. If it works. There we go. And we'll select Connecticut. And we'll select any better county than others before I just click Hartford. We'll go with Hartford. Okay. Continue. So it will always say milk 0830. That's the code for dairy. So good. Cost estimated. Yeah. Go. Now at this point, you would just select however you want to operate. You can either choose type 831, that's class price, so that's the balance between class 3 and class 4, or component price. Make it easy, we will do class price option. Nope, so you'll have type 997s, that's always no type specified. You don't have any cropping practices, no irrigation practices, no organic practices, and no intended use. Your intervals will drop down in this box here. So the earliest one we can pick is April to June at this point, because we're already in the January to March quarter. So we will go with the next one. If you qualify for beginning farmer or rancher, there will be a further discount. Conservation compliance does not apply for this. So sales effective date we'll say is today. Is that today? That is not. Okay, that's close as we got. Insured share. It's just a one-person operation, or maybe it's been turned into a business. Covered milk production, we'll do something simple like 100,000 pounds. Milk, we'll just do a simple protection factor of 100%. The higher protection factor you go, the higher the cost will be. But at 100%, and then the class price weighting factor. So you only select one in this case, and that will be class 3. The balance will become class 4. So at class, we'll just say 50. So that means that half is in class 3 and half is in class 4. We'll get an estimate. And it goes in the amount of time it takes sometimes. But now, when I did this presentation in New Jersey 3 years ago, it stalled out on me and never worked. Okay, so this will give you a coverage. At 95%, 100,000 pounds of milk is worth roughly about $20,658, and at 80%, it's worth roughly about $17,396. You would select this radio button here, producer premium amount. So there you go. You wanted to cover 95% of that. Almost $20,000 would cost $339 for the quarter. As low as 80%, so $16,000 or so is only $14 to pay for coverage, which is, if you wanted to actually see it in a grid form, I think we have, worksheets, there we are. Click this worksheet button. I wouldn't bother with you can bother with the detail worksheet, or you can just look at the producer worksheet. At 95%, covering the expected revenue expected is 21,745, but it's only 95%, so we can only cover 20,658 of that. At total premium is $605, including the A&O, that's administration costs, is $739. Government covers $431 of that, including all the A&O. So again, the producer premium is $339 for 80%. There we go. Again, that the expected revenue of the milk is 21 grand. We will only be covering 17,396 in that, and it's only $14. So that's really pretty good. Now I'll show you real fast the difference between 100% protection and say 150% protection. We're back here on this main page, And let's say you wanna do 150% protection. We'll keep everything else the same. 100,000 pounds of milk and 50-50 between class 3 and class 4. If it gets there. I probably should have screenshot these, and that's my apologies. I've done that. There we go. All right. Instead of doing this, we'll just click on our worksheets button again. All right. Just the producer worksheets, because that's the cost to you. All right. So 150%, our expected revenue is still $21,745. None of that's going to change. Your price will go up. Your producer premium is now $508. But what it will do is 80%. Let me just check this real fast. Yeah, raises it up to $21 of producer premium at the 80% level. And if we go back to item details, what's going on? Yeah. Back to results. There we go. All right, there we are. But now the expected, yeah, so at 150%, now instead of $21,000, it's actually $30,000 of protection. So for slightly less price. It will cost more, but it will protect higher. That's the general idea of it. Anyway, I would encourage anybody to jump on there, play around with your personal production, see if it's a product that you might like, see if it might work for you. Any questions at this time?
This is Joe Will. If folks have any questions later on, they thought about it, would it be possible for them even to send you an email, maybe reach out to you? Is that possible?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you prefer, yeah, my email is. Let me see if I can type it in the. If I can get the chat. There we go. To everyone. Okay. I'm putting my email in the chat right now.
Appreciate that very much, Will.
Oh, no problem. At USDA.gov. Okay.
Appreciate that. Every once in a while, I know when I'm reviewing some things, all of a sudden I've got a question and be nice to know that they can reach out to the person who's very, very knowledgeable about the product. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's no problem. It's I hope I hope everybody had a good year last year. I know it's been difficult in every market and across the board with the pandemic. It's unusual, but we are here to the same as y'all, to provide as much ag guidance as we can. It's a sector that we have to do everything we can to help.
Right. Well, any other points you want to make? Any other thoughts, Will?
At this time, I'm unless y'all have any questions, I hope like I said, I hope I didn't go too fast. I hope my accent isn't funny. It
Not
has
at
been
all.
before. And I am pretty sure that stop sharing, I guess. I believe I've been told that we will be playing UConn in February, so go Big Orange.
Oh, yeah, we're having a few problems this year. We've had quite a few injuries to some key players as well too here, so it's been a little bit of struggle, but I like to think some of our key players are coming back, and we should give you a competitive game, quite
Well,
frankly, Will.
I, I, I guess I hope
If there are
so,
no
but I
other
really don't.
questions, I want to thank you, Will, for your excellent presentation. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot. If anyone has any questions, again, you can use chat or feel free to email me or Will as well too. So thank you so much. Also, as you might be aware, people that are on the call, we have we have 3 more webinars that are coming up on a series of related topics as well too. I like to hand over I guess the next phase of this to evaluation, and Francis, maybe if you could, do what you do to kind of hopefully put the evaluation in the chat box, we would appreciate it.
Sure thing. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and then put the evaluation up. Thank you, Joe.